You got to stop messing with the stuff, man.
I didn't mess with it. You
You
muted
got to
yourself.
stop messing with the settings. What is going on, everybody? It's the Art of AI podcast. I'm Mike Polite. I'm here once again for our lunch break with Mr. Chad, the AI wizard. He's an AI Jedi today. What was that? A lightsaber? There it is. It doesn't do sound effects. I'll do the sound effects.
It does.
Okay.
I just don't have the gain on very high.
Okay, good. That's probably why I don't hear myself through your stuff. So yeah, we're back. It's Monday. Super excited about this. I very specifically want to talk about what it is that I put in the thing there. That AI probably isn't for most of the people who are currently being inundated with ads about AI. Right. I'm going to share my screen real quick here because the people need to see this. The people need to see what's actually going on. So if you look here, this is the Meta ad library. And what this allows you to do is just see ads that are currently running on the platform, and just see kind of what's cooking out there. And if you look, this has been going on for a long time. Where it's saying, these appointments guaranteed. This AI is going to do this for you, guaranteed. You don't have to put any money up front, and we'll just do this, and then you're going to get this magical result for your business. Sorry if it's a little loud. We got Fortnite going in the back. This is not true for the most part and for most businesses. As a matter of fact, most of the businesses who see these ads and respond to them, submit their information, comment on it, and say that they want to talk, it's not for you. You're ready for AI. There's a couple of things that need to be in place, right? But some of the bigger stuff is you have to have a process for sales.
Well, and I wouldn't even say that it's just that you have to have a process for sales. For AI, whether it's automation, whether it's anything, you have to build a process for any system, AI, automation, whatever. You have to have a process to build into it, right? A tested, valid process of, okay, I send out a cold call. Now what do I do? Right. Well, I follow up in 3 days. Okay, great. Then I follow up in 3 days. And then that process you can plug AI into, you can plug automation into, but you got to have the process first. Even when it's brand new. I mean, as long as you've got something planned out, right? And you can iterate on top of it. So it's not like it has to be perfect, especially if you're doing it yourself, but it doesn't have to be perfect, but you have to go, okay, I'm going to do this. And then 3 days later, I'm going to do that. And then, here are the responses that I'm getting. And then, okay, I'm going to have AI answer those. Right.
Right. So I posted something earlier because we were talking about it earlier, and I actually posted it while we were having the conversation, and that was garbage in, garbage out. Right. And this is like an ancient IT idiom, right? Where we talk about code and just, the computer isn't magically going to make your work better. Right. And it's the same thing with virtually everything with life. Garbage in, garbage out is just a universal truth. If you eat garbage, your body's going to be garbage, right? Because, we have another idiom, you are what you eat, right? What goes in has a massive impact on what comes out. So when we're looking at these ads, grow your mortgage business using AI to help grow your mortgage business, reach more potential clients with AI, grow your mortgage business with AI. Same thing for solar, same thing for real estate, same thing for insurance. Every different niche has advertising being bombarded with these ads that say AI is the answer for your business woes. when the fact of the matter is your business woes are gonna exist regardless of AI being present. The way that AI can come in and help with your business, there's two places where it can massively help and improve. Number one is with the low level conversations that you might have people doing or you don't have enough people to have, right? This is with appointment setters and things like that. If you've got inbound lead flow and you've got a database, you've got good contact information, automations and AI can give you a lot of a big boost to your business just there, right? Using automations to do the outreach, using AI to make decisions about how the conversations goes, qualifying them, and then eventually booking them to your sales calendar. Same thing for customer service, right? You have people who are reaching out to you, reaching out to your business. Some of those low level conversations can be handled either by automation. And if you need more understanding than what an automation can do, you leverage AI. I think, Chad, you were saying earlier today that if you don't need understanding, you can use an automation. If you need understanding, you use AI. If you need understanding and empathy, you use both. I got people coming to my door. Hang on a second. Oh wait, never mind. That's people who live here. Sweet. But does that kind of make sense?
Yeah, well,
I thought somebody was coming and knocking on the door.
that's the important part, right? That AI has its place in the continuum of automation and sales and marketing, but it has a specific place. You know, it's not you're not building a fully automated robot to do everything for you, right?
And that's the other thing. There's work.
There's work.
Believe it or not, with the AI and automations doing a bunch of the work, it's there to create work, right?
Well, it creates work because nothing runs in, the law of entropy still exists. It's less, it's more efficient, right? It makes your work more efficient, but you still got to keep the AI, trained, and you've got to keep monitoring the responses, and you've got to, uh, you know, as you build things out, you got to test how it interacts, how that model interacts, whether you're, using Chat GPT or something like that. Um, you still need to manage it. And even when you've got people booked, when we've had clients that have had this issue where they expect AI and it's like they expect the fish to jump in the boat, right? Like somehow
Right.
they're just going to do an onboarding session. I'm like, you still have to close the client, right? AI is not at the point now where they're going to be closing deals, right? There's just too much nuance that it's not prepared to deal with. I mean, we work a lot of the nuance out of the systems that we build, but at the end of the day,
I'm just writing out like a thing, like when do I know my business is ready for AI? I cannot hear you. I don't know what just happened. We lost you. We lost Chad, everybody. Now he's muted. Still can't
yeah,
hear him. Now I can hear
yeah,
Chad.
all right. So, customer service is a perfect example of somewhere that's fairly robust, right? Because we can create a master document, frequently asked questions, something like that, for the AI to reference, and then that becomes the how it answers all those questions. So for things like where do I, let's say you have something and you have a website and people have to log in, but they're constantly asking you, what's the login again? Blah blah blah. The AI can handle that question. It's a standard question. It's not going to deviate. You can deal with that, right?
Right.
If it asks about your business, we can write a sales letter and use that as, okay, here's how you answer the question. Here's everything that's in there. Answer the question using this. If you can't, move on. So customer service is definitely there. Sales process is definitely there. I you know Marketing for content creation is coming along, right?
Mm-hmm.
But still requires a lot of work. I mean, there's definitely Like it can significantly reduce the manual workload, but it does not eliminate the manual workload, right? Um, you just, instead of playing with it, searching on stock photos slash image sites, you can now create the image that you want by describing what you're looking for and then working through that. So you become a prompt engineer more than you do an artist, quote unquote. Now there's some really cool tools that are coming out, like Adobe Firefly, which is, I haven't really had a chance to dive into, but that's automatically able to remove background, add, interpret what it sees on a smaller picture, and you know build out more images, right? um Based on the reference. So if you have an image that's at yay by yay, it can expand it. The couple on the beach kissing, it can give you the full body of the couple on the beach kissing for whatever you're doing, right? um but as far as the direct question and answer, call and response type stuff, um you definitely need, um there's definitely work in there, right? You've got to put the work in. It's not going to jump. Fish ain't going to jump in the boat.
Did you see this article? I saw, shout out to Mike Wayne on Facebook. He posted a screenshot of this, which is why I'm even aware of it here. But here's the actual article that I found on Yahoo, where this content creator says that they maintain about 10 clients and that ChatGPT has wiped out their entire client base. They've been replaced. Wow, there's now I've got big feedback. Testing. That's a little better. So yeah, this says right here, content writers turn into trade work after OpenAI's ChatGPT wiped out his business. Eric Fine, so it is a he, I'm assuming, told the Washington Post that he was dropped by 10 clients who replaced him with the chatbot. There are concerns that advanced generative AI will lead to widespread unemployment. This is happening. This is absolutely happening.
But it's just like in the automation and sales. It's not replacing salespeople. It's replacing the bare minimum to skill sets, right? So
yeah,
it's and it doesn't even replace setters, right? Like when we're building out our AI processes, it doesn't remove the job of a setter. What it does is allows the setter to be focused more as an AI babysitter and making corrections and moving people along a pipeline when things don't go right, or when there's a little tweak in the system that you got to make, or I could have answered that better, I'm going to recover that, right? That's where setters end up spending more time. All the people who just say no, leave me alone, the setter can ignore because the hand system handles all that, right? So it's the garbage that it's actually handling, right? That's what you want the AI to do, right? So that the setters that you're paying are focused on conversations that have more people actually engaged in your pipeline, in your offer, right? And it's the same thing with AI when it comes to generative AI. Look, I was an art major, right? And I am terribly inefficient with with artwork and putting artwork out there because I'm an artist. I'm not a graphic designer. I learned early on that I get too engaged with it. I cannot spend the time. Like I'm never happy enough to put it to a client, right?
It's never done.
It's never done because for me, it's a process oriented, for me, it's a process. It's not an end result. And graphic design and people with those skill sets, they're very good at just boom, here's something. Do you like it? Move on. Right. And I just, that's not how I do it. However, AI has made it a lot easier for me to produce stuff for clients because I do have the skills to do it. If I'm sitting here doing it, it'll never be good enough, but I can massage AI to give me kind of what I'm looking for, make a modification, put it out there and move on. Right. And so now, did it eliminate somebody who I could have paid to do that? Yeah. but there's an argument of, was that, you know, it, but that's at the lowest level of the process, right? Somebody still has to editorialize it, make sure it makes sense. And now that
Right.
skill set, those people need to, what they really need to do is upskill to be able to use AI to shorten their workflows, right? So they will get
Right.
better
So
results by, like, yeah, you could go use ChatGPT, but if you have a writer, like I'm not a writer, and the difference between what you get from copy versus what I get from copy, you can tell when Mike's writing it and when I write it, because he's a better copywriter than I am, right?
that's right. Say it again.
You're a better copywriter.
You
I
know
mean, I'm okay, but the thing is that it's just, but the chat GPT or any other AI is a tool, right? And it's at this point not really thinking in the sense of strategy, or
Mhm.
it's just, I'm taking instructions and doing this stuff. The actual doing is done for you.
So here's what I'd like to point out. There's a couple of things that are happening here that I love about this article and that this is kind of coming out. Number one is the person who lost his clients says he's currently training to be a heating and air conditioning technician and plans to become a plumber further down the line. Okay, so he told the Washington Post that trades are more future proof, right? So this says that trade work is predicted to be one of the industries least affected by advances in artificial intelligence. And that's likely true. I don't think that we have a bot yet that can fix plumbing or build patios, right? We don't have a roofing bot, do we?
We
I
have
mean,
a
tell me.
bot that can build houses.
Okay, we don't have a bot. Nobody scheduled an appointment to talk about that because we don't have that.
I'm not saying we as a company, but I'm saying they exist. You can 3D print a house, which is basically a robot printing,
Which
based
means
on
that the trades are going to be impacted, but maybe not as much. Here's the question, though, and here's what I like about this. So we call ourselves AI operations specialists or AI operations consultants, right? Is that a trade?
Yeah.
Because it's gone beyond prompt engineer, right? Because the prompts, there's lots of prompts training and coaching out there that you can get. But what we do is we're actually helping companies implement artificial intelligence in their current operation. So businesses that have a sales process, have a customer service process, and they're looking to scale those things. But they want to avoid maybe hiring more people and having to incur the costs of training and those types of things. They hire us to come in and build artificial intelligence systems that can do those jobs. Right?
Yeah, but I
That's a
also
trade.
think it's surgical too, right? Where does it belong and where does it not belong? Like if you were
Right.
to ask me, if somebody was like, well, can you make it so that I don't have to talk to anybody? I'd say no. I'm not going to bother. You're not going to
Well,
get the
we've had
results.
that, right? You said that
Yeah.
earlier with the, they want the fish to jump in the boat thing.
Yeah.
We
It's like
we had clients like that
they didn't want to
who
talk to anybody. And I'm like, you
they
can't, you
just
can't
wanted to
close a deal if you don't talk
collect
to
a check.
anybody. Yeah.
Yeah. Which that's interesting. Maybe a t-shirt business, right? You do like an AI powered t-shirt business and sell them on Shopify. We should do that. The other thing that I love about this, and this is aside from the AI part, is that this guy is a writer, right? Like, and I can't think of a more like a softer profession than like being a writer. Like, where's your office? Like Starbucks, right? You can write from home. This guy's going from being a writer and he's pivoting into an actual physical trade like HVAC, plumbing. I love that because one of the things that I say to people all the time is you can wake up today. You can wake up tomorrow morning. You could decide right now that you're going to be something completely different than you just were up until this very minute. And I love that this guy goes, yeah, I'm done here. I'm going to go install heating and air conditioning systems. I love it. I absolutely love it.
But you also got to think, okay, but how do you apply that skill? This guy could use ChatGPT to pump out books that he sells on Amazon. right? Like there are other things now instead of you pushing, you know what I'm saying? Like you could create a storyline, have chat GPT help flesh it out. I know there's people doing it. I've seen it. Um, uh, so, you know, that's another
I
avenue
don't
he could have
I
gone.
don't know how I feel about that, man. I kind of have to gather my thoughts around that because yeah, you can, right? You can use Chat GPT to pump out books and and make a living in that way. But don't we need more tradesmen?
I'm not I'm not criticizing him for his choice. I'm not saying he's bad. I'm just saying there's another. I mean, I'm just looking at the hey, our jobs are going to disappear. They said the same thing when Ford rolled out the assembly line, right? And
That's
that
true.
they were like, oh my gosh, you're gonna all these guys are gonna be out of work. And well, it's not how it ended up, right? He was able to, the demand was there, right? For the content, for the product was so pent up
Hmm.
that but he couldn't possibly fulfill all of it himself. And the only way to capture more of the demand of that market share was to create the assembly line as we know it, to try and pump out as much as possible, brings the prices down and it's more affordable, and so you make money on the large volume. And um but when it comes to AI, again, you're shifting. You can shift to a different skill set. That ultimately you're just going to have to do that. That is the world we live in. It's been like that for years. This is no different than the internet. The internet right now, you are at 1997, right? Like we're at 90,
Hmm.
probably a 97 with the internet, where they were still calling it the World Wide Web. You used to surf the web. Nobody talks about that anymore. I was watching
No, hold on, man. It was the information superhighway.
Super Highway. I remember that too. Yeah. Welcome to the information super highway.
We're gonna go light speed.
And there was like I mean, all the metaphors of the on ramp to the super highway, like
Yeah, I remember the icons for some of like CompuServe and stuff was like a road going like
yeah,
up
yeah.
into.
But it was just like, and then people have made a lot of money and have been very successful by figuring out how that works, and either selling their services and knowledge, or taking building something completely new off of it, right? E-commerce, buying
Yeah,
something online in 97 was almost unheard of, right? I mean,
right.
I'm trying to remember when Amazon was established, but they really put e-commerce on the map. It was Amazon that really hit that out of the park. Um, I mean, there was other companies probably doing it. But Amazon's the one that, hit that sweet spot of efficiency and focus, because they used to only sell books. I bet you half the audience watching doesn't even realize that Amazon used to only sell books. It's all they sold.
Right.
That's
No,
how
I
they
remember
started.
that.
Yeah. It was Amazon books, and they put out, because they could put every author up there, and they ended up having, like now, you remember when you had vanity books and you could self-publish a book and spend thousands of dollars to have all these books in your in your garage back in the 80s and the 90s? It was like, you know, it was a vanity thing. Now you can literally self-publish, shove it on Amazon. So I still
Oh,
think,
Amazon actually makes that really easy. I have
yeah,
I have buddies and people who we're doing other business stuff with who are just like, yeah, I have a couple of books on Amazon that I wrote in Chat GPT.
yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. And the thing is that what it means is that there's always going to be art. What I don't think will ever happen until the singularity, right, where AI becomes self-aware, which is another whole conversation. But until that point, there's not AI can is going to be there to do the grunt typing, but they're going to editorialize the book, right? You know, and
Right.
I think that's kind of where we are right now. It's a tool. You've got to learn. You can't get around not understanding it and where to place it and how to use it. Um, but just going and getting AI isn't going to solve problems, right? It's not going to be. Um, it's not going to get you where you want to go. You've got to learn it and understand where it belongs.
This is really interesting. I like looking at these articles and kind of picking apart what's happening in this space, right? This is this pay to play AI, right? Because and this is something that we talk about, like the cost of connecting to the API and how many tokens it costs to ask the AI something.
Yeah.
Even just using the GPT-4 model, which is massive. I finally figured out just the scope of how huge that language model is. The other day, over the weekend, I was doing some reading, and the just the computational power that's required in order to make these silly things happen, right? That we typed silly stuff into, right? It really is amazing. I think maybe we'll do some more of this where we go over some of these. But yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about on this episode. AI is probably not for your business, but we can help you figure it out if it is by just looking at a couple of things. Do you have a sales process that exists right now? Okay. There are parts of your sales process then that the AI can help with. Okay. Do you have customer service issues that are happening right now? Meaning, do you have conversations that you have to have that are very repetitive, that you have to have with multiple people? AI can help with that as well. All this other stuff that they're saying where it's just magically going to fix things in your business, don't believe the hype. Get an expert, talk to people about stuff before you pull the trigger on any one of these things. I think that's probably something that we should be doing, Chad, is advising people which AI products that maybe they should be getting into for their specific business.
Yeah, I
Anyway,
mean,
that's all for today.
it's not again, I wouldn't say that it's not for anybody. I think you're remiss if you don't start looking into it and figuring it out, right? I think the big point of what we're discussing and what we're saying is it it every business is going to have to figure it out and use it at some point. How you do it
Mhm.
and whether it's ready, are you ready to implement it, or do you have some groundwork to do before it makes sense, right? Is
Right.
really what it comes down to, rather than, because the way I look at it is it's you will be left behind if you aren't at least thinking about how to do it now, right? um that's really what it comes down to. You may not be ready for it, it may not be your time. All you do is you're a writer, and you know that's you
If
want
I
you
were a
know
writer right now, if I were a writer, I would be I would have probably at the beginning of the year been working on changing my offer to my current client base, um, and talking about educating them on the use of ChatGPT so that their segue into using that technology to replace me is guided by me,
right.
and they're they're still using me at so now I'm actually doing less writing, but I can educate in that space. So it's
Well,
less work on my part in a lot of ways,
yeah.
right? And I can take on more than 10 clients, right? Because now I'm not actually producing that work. I'm showing them how to prompt in order to get the best results out of it.
Well, and you have companies like, I mean, again, it's a race. The production of this stuff has been a race to the bottom for a while, because it used to be, it's like, oh, one page or a couple page articles, $135, X, Y, and Z, whatever. Now, and then before then you had companies that like Panda Copy and things like that, where they would have writers on the other side. Those companies are going to, like, they've got to figure out quick, because their entire revenue model is based on having excellent writers to write this stuff, right?
Yeah.
The individual writers, I think, will probably end up being, if they're smart enough to figure out how to leverage it. Yeah, I mean, you don't even need to be focused as an AI prompt engineer. You just, like, okay, well, let's take that, now we're going to editorialize it, right? And now I'm going to go
Right.
change this, rearrange that. No, I don't like the way that came about. Now professional writers become editors more than they are actual writers, right? Just like, if I want to, as a graphic artist, if I want to remove something from the background in Photoshop, yeah, I could go through and click all this stuff myself and do all this work, but I could also just click the AI and say get rid of it and be done. I mean, people need to remember, when you when you had like a lot of the Renaissance artists and stuff like that, they had teams of people reproducing their work in their in the way they do it. Okay,
Right.
the difference between what we've got now and what was happening then is, instead of us hiring, because personnel are so expensive, we don't hire a bunch of people to write in our voice anymore. We just teach the AI to write in our voice, and then it'll write in our
Right.
voice, and then so that, and that's just writing. I mean, there's a whole slew of things. Customer support. I mean, you're gonna have fewer customer support agents on the, answering questions about the products, right? The AI is going to handle that. So the entire model is changing quickly. But it's not, I don't think of it as Ragnarok for all these industries. You're just gonna have to learn a new skill, right? When networking became something, when the internet changed networking from an internal network to the entire world, that
Right.
changed what you did. I mean, we used to laugh. I came up when we still had SneakerNet. I don't know if you remember that, but
I remember SneakerNet.
yeah, that's what we referred to, the fact that you popped a floppy
Mm-hmm.
out of one computer, ran it over to the other, and popped it in there, right? And you had people who were, and then we started building internal networks, but all they did was move files back and forth. There wasn't a lot of, that, which is all any of this is data back and forth.
Right.
But it wasn't like you could go browse the internet and find information that wasn't owned by the
Right. You only had what was on that network.
Yep, whatever was on that network. Otherwise, you went and you looked and you found it.
That's what internet is short for, right? Interconnected networks.
Correct. Yeah.
I think Chad just had a mind blow moment.
No, I'm just trying to remember. If I don't remember it ever being, the stuff has become so ubiquitous, I forget what it was novel.
Right. Information superhighway.
And well, and yeah,
4400 baud connection.
No. Actually, I think it's in the internet, the intranet. I don't think that's interconnected, because it's intranet and internet. Intranet being internal, internet meaning outward. So I think it's not interconnected.
Agree to disagree.
Well, pull it up. Let's look.
All right. What does the internet stand for?
I think that's the little boy asking her, "Do you like me like a boyfriend?"
Really?
Yeah. She didn't.
Internet. What does the internet stand for? Interconnected network.
All right. I stand.
Boom, baby. Mike's right. Live on the internet.
Oh, that's funny.
It said internet is an acronym of interconnected network, the large system of connected computers and other devices around the world that allows people. Well, I mean, we have to look at the the actual. Oh, hey, I'm getting hugs. Kehlani said hi.
Oh, hey.
You guys taking off? Yeah. All right. Well, have fun.
Thanks.
Be safe. It's cold out. Wear a jacket. All right. Anyway, I think that's the end of the podcast for the day.
Yeah, I think so. I think we're good.
All right. So we will see you guys for lunch tomorrow for the Art of AI podcast. I'm Mike Polite. That's Chad Lukens.
I'm Chad Lukens.
Chad, any parting words?
All these bass belong to us.
Okay. I'm not going to give you parting words anymore. We'll see you guys tomorrow. All these bass